5 cast iron myths I believed for years. Your cast iron sticks, looks patchy, and you've been terrified of using soap or metal, but almost everything you've learned is wrong. Here are the 5 myth-busting fixes that took decades to learn, and why your seasoning is tougher than you think. The real secret: heat and seasoning. Cast iron's non-stick isn't a coating. It's a hard layer of oil polymerized onto the metal at around 400 to 450 degrees F, and it's tougher than most beginners assume. The metal itself is thick and dense, so it heats slowly and unevenly, but once it's hot, it stays hot for minutes, which is the real advantage. Every myth after this stems from either fighting this heat property or needlessly fearing you'll damage that hard polymerized seasoning. Not preheating and overheating the pan. Food dumped onto a cold or unevenly heated pan sticks and cooks with hot spots and cold spots, because cast iron takes time to even out. Preheat on medium heat for 3 to 5 minutes, longer than a stainless steel pan, and let the whole surface reach the same temperature before you add food. Then use lower heat than you think you need, because the pan's stored heat keeps cooking food long after you turn the burner down. Start around medium-low. You'll get that perfect golden crust with no sticking, because the whole pan is already at the right temperature when the food hits. The sticking myth: it's timing, not seasoning. Beginners rip food up too early, tear the crust, and then blame their seasoning, but that's a patience problem, not a seasoning failure. A well-heated cast iron pan releases food on its own once a golden crust forms. You don't have to fight it. If it won't let go after 30 to 60 seconds on medium-high heat, it just isn't ready. Wait another 30 seconds and it releases cleanly. That's the heat property at work. The pan needs time to build the crust, so patience, not more seasoning, is the fix. The soap myth: dish soap is fine. The old never-use soap rule leaves people cooking on weeks of stuck-on residue, because they're afraid one drop of dish soap will strip the seasoning. Modern dish soap has no lye and won't harm polymerized seasoning, which is chemically bonded to the metal, not a thin coating that soap strips. What actually damages cast iron is soaking it, the dishwasher, and leaving it wet to rust, not a little soap and a soft brush. Wash it with soap and a soft brush. Dry it immediately on the burner for 30 seconds to evaporate all the water, then wipe a thin film of oil on while it's still warm. Over-seasoning. Do it once, then just cook. Beginners re-season constantly, often applying oil too thick, and end up with a sticky, tacky surface that flakes off, which is the opposite of what they wanted. Season once properly. Rub a thin coat of oil all over, wipe it almost all off so it's barely visible, then bake it upside down at around 450 degrees F for about 1 hour. After that, stop re-seasoning and just cook on it, especially fatty foods like bacon, ground beef, or sautéed vegetables, and the seasoning builds itself with every use. Every time you cook with fat, you're adding a microscopic layer of polymerized oil, so the pan gets better over years, not worse. The metal utensil and storage myths. People baby cast iron with silicone-only rules and airtight storage that traps moisture underneath, and then wonder why it rusts. They're being too careful. Good seasoning is hard and chemically bonded to the metal, so steel or cast iron utensils won't hurt it. You can scrape it freely without fear. Store it dry and uncovered or with just a paper towel laid on top to wick away moisture, never sealed away damp. A bare, cool shelf is ideal. The seasoning you've built up is more resilient than you think. What kills a pan is moisture, not use. The single idea that ties every myth together. Cast iron is a piece of seasoned metal, not a delicate coating. Respect the heat. Stop fearing the seasoning. Tonight, preheat your pan on medium for 5 minutes and let the food release itself instead of forcing it. You'll see the difference immediately. Thanks for watching. If cast iron has been on your shelf gathering dust, this is your sign to use it.